To the same time last year, that same time period, we're looking at an increase of nearly 25% more shooting incidents in just 22 days. New York Mayor Eric Adams has said tackling gun violence is one of his top priorities, and he and his administration are currently working on a way to deal with that. It's what they call a blueprint to safety. They're going to release more details on that. In the meantime, if anybody out there knows anything at all about this shooting, please contact the NYPD. On the street. The shooting itself happened just off of Linden Boulevard and Drew Street in New York, East New York. According to the NYPD, a 35-year-old man was behind the wheel of the car with two teenagers inside, a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old. Well, around 3:30 in the morning, officers tell us the three were involved in some sort of a dispute with somebody else. That unknown person opened fire on the vehicle, peppering it with bullets. The 35-year-old driver was struck multiple times. The 16-year-old was shot in the back of the head, and a 17-year-old was grazed on the face by a bullet. The three were all rushed to nearby hospital, where the 35-year-old as well as the 16-year-old were listed in critical condition at last check due to the severity of their wounds. The 17-year-old is expected to be okay. The shooter, though, he escaped. Police have yet to give us a description of who they might be, and we also don't have a motive right now for the shooting either. We are just a couple of weeks into the new year, 2022, but things are already off to a pretty rough start for gun violence in New York City. Since January 1st, according to the NYPD's crime statistics, 75 people have been shot in 68 different shootings. You compare that.
You have to ask yourself, how do these 16-year-olds, these 17-year-olds, these 18-year-olds go on drills? Where do they get the resources to go on drills? It's obviously being facilitated by people that is older than them, people who have resources, people who's putting them in place to have resources of their own. It's a perpetual cycle that, well, we're going to praise them if they happen to make a hit song that we like. Why is it even a hit song? Why do we feed into it when it seems like they're successful, but when they're poor, broke, and still in the hood, it's not okay? You have to have that same energy. Just because you're famous and you're rich, you can't be rapping about drilling. And you're not drilling, because that's not your lifestyle. Oh, but other people could drill for you, because their life doesn't mean nothing. See how we play ourselves? We are still using the youth to do our dirty work. So sad. Gang members are still using young people to do their dirty work. It makes no sense why a 35 will be hanging out with a 16-year-old and a 17-year-old at 3 o'clock in the morning unless it wasn't for gang activity. It makes no sense. You're right in East New York. The gang maps know who lives around. You live in one of the most highly surveilled cities. The truth will come to light. And what's sad is that 2 people lost their life and not coming back. Is it wrong? Is it racist for white people to say that they already know who's responsible for the crime? Well, we know who did it. It's not racist anymore. When we have created a pattern that people can observe. It's not racist anymore for white people to say that we be killing ourselves. It's not racist no more. It's the truth. And the youth is so manipulated into thinking that this is the cool way out. It's so sick. Gun violence up 22%. We're only 29 days into the new year. Come on. Disgusting.